Having a hard time with love lasting long enough? How often is your first date your last date? Have you noticed that your relationships last no more than 2 days? They say love never lasts, but in your case, it doesn't even start. Your birthday is a secret soul security number. We know everything about you, how you love, how you lust, and how you like to be lusted by. In one video, you'll understand what you're looking for in love and what you offer. Secrets of Birthdays, now available at secretsofbirthdays.com.
Namaste, I'm GA number 33. Welcome to soulmart.me Guided HangOut's Practical Wizardry. Please welcome our host, a psychic, famous astrologer, and one of the most magical wizards in the world, the wonderful Wizard of Christopher Witecki.
Hola. How's everyone doing today? You guys happy down there?
Wonderful.
I see all my people supporting my red. Thanks. We put out a secret memo, by the way, at soulgarden.tv of what color I'll be wearing that day. So if anyone wants to jump in, you can always find out the color. Welcome to Practical Wizardry, everyone. My name is Christopher Witecki. I'm an astrologer, a psychic, and a modern mystic of many. We have many modern mystics, actually, on our team. And I'm here to help you learn magic, practical magic, really. Practical Wizardry is the intention here of the show. Now, I want to put out a couple little disclaimers. If you're just catching me right now, this show is incremental. What that means is you can watch the show and enjoy it, but you probably want to roll back to the beginning of this series because each one builds on the other so that you can step into your magic. So you might want to start from the beginning and watch the whole series. They're all fun, I believe. So we started out talking about Leo. That's when this series kicked off. It was kind of cosmically timed because Leo is the heart of our magic. It's the heart of who we are. And it is literally our heart. And talking about Leo, we went into self-worship, self-gratitude, and self-promotion. Those are the three kind of areas of loving yourself and stepping into your magical power. Now we're talking about Virgo. And Virgo is where magic actually turns into reality, where things go from non-solid to solid. And that is an actual process that happens in reality. Physics knows it's a process, and we're going to talk today about metaphysics and physics. And we're going to talk about the ability to heal ourselves through metaphysics. So last week, it was all about self-awareness. We talked about pet peeves in the first week, and we talked about what triggers you as a clue. That was the beginning of Virgo energy, kind of paying more attention to reality, not as something we are stuck inside, but rather as our latest spell. And last week we talked about integrity, and integrity has to do with the spirit on the inside and whether or not it matches the spirit on the outside, and inner states awareness to outer states awareness. Today we're going to talk about health. That's what we're going to talk about. In fact, in the Virgo consciousness, the three states I would say is self-awareness is the first spectrum of consciousness, which is where we were talking about pet peeves and whatnot. Then it's integrity and health. That's the proficiency sector of consciousness for Virgo. If you're in integrity, and if you're in integrity, you are in health. If you are in dis-ease, it's because you are out of integrity with your soul and the 12 states of awareness. And the highest, which we're going to talk about next week when we wrap up Virgo, is synergy. My favorite, synergy energy. When we synergize with the universe, and through our synergy, we can actually change reality. We can pull off miracles, and we're going to talk about that today. So before we get into all that kind of stuff, I want to ask a question of whether or not miracles exist, whether or not people think miracles exist, because it's one of those kind of debated topics in life about miracles existing or not. And I thought we should, talk about what is a miracle in the first place. What do we talk about when we talk about miracle? We have to mute that person, please. So, here's a classic image. I'm just going through Google and doing their images. This is funny, where a person is saying fluke, Of course, I imagine this is some sort of sea parting, and this is one of the stories of the Bible, that Moses parted the Red Sea and helped us all, helped everyone across the last minute. Now, I will say something interesting. I saw a documentary recently, and they looked at where that sea parts, and it turns out that sea will part naturally every year. That sea parts naturally every year during storm conditions. Kind of interesting. Everyone always thinks of miracles as in, this kind of magic and ray, but I just want to point out in this little, cliche picture that that the light, that is the source of all of our energy on Earth, is sunlight. So when it comes to the beginning of miracles, it does start with sunlight. Everything starts with light. Light goes into plants, plants go into animals, animals go into us, etc. It all is light energy on this Earth. And every now and then the universe surprises us with some, quote, miracles like, wow, did I imagine that or did I not imagine it? Miracle Whip, one of my favorite miracles. I think this is the one that has personally saved the lunchbox industry. And I'm loving their new logo. This was not sponsored by Miracle Whip. You will not see it in any other sign than Virgo. Now, here's where I think most people can see miracles, right? Whoever James and Liz is, we honor your child for being on Google. And we thank you. Your baby is so beautiful. And if you are parents, you would think, yes, it is a miracle. You have to be a parent to actually feel it, I've noticed. Being a child of a parent, you will not feel the miracle. Just saying. Now, here's a miracle. Apollo 13, this is like a little rendition. But when you look at that story of Apollo 13, I think to myself, it is a miracle that those people made it back. An absolute miracle, right? Here's another miracle. We have a black president. So I'm just showing you, miracles are everywhere, right? And that's really true. Miracles are everywhere. So miracles do exist, but I want to talk about the more specifics of where miracle exists. But we're going to go to actually a little break here in a second. And when I come back, I want to ask the studio audience to share if you have ever witnessed a miracle yourself. All right, can we do that, GA33? By the way, good for good promotion you got.
Thank you, Christopher. We'll be right back with Practical Wizardry right after this message from our sponsors.
Having trouble in your love life? I have the answers. It's called Secrets of Birthdays, the Love and Lust Report. The biggest problem usually is people choose the wrong person. Not anymore. Find out your birthday secrets, available online at secretsofbirthdays.com.
And now, without further ado, back to our wacky wizard.
Hey there, where's our applause? There's no applause today. I'm feeling so naked. Oh my gosh. You guys, it's killing the spirit. What's the matter? Too heavy here. Too much Virgo energy. So, you guys, I gave you the chance. Who wants to tell me? Has anyone ever witnessed a miracle here on our panel? Anyone? No one has witnessed a miracle? I'm going to go to Darius. Darius, if you would tell me a miracle.
Well, there's been a couple in the last week. The first one was...
In the last week? Oh, my God. Okay, sorry. I thought in a lifetime.
You won't call them miracles, but I worked out last Saturday that I needed to make £20,000 before the end of the month. And lo and behold, somebody walked in and spent £5,000 immediately. And then the other thing was I was looking for... A lawyer told me something which I knew wasn't true. And then I just had this feeling that I should go and research this particular law. And it just so happened the piece of law that I was researching is exactly the one I wanted. And it was over and done in 5 minutes. Now I consider those miracles because that saved me an awful lot of work.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and I wouldn't disagree. And what you've given examples of, sir, I think are of daily miracles. I mean, those are the type of miracles that we can manifest in our daily life. And we're going to talk about the whys and the metaphysics of miracles, but I would agree. I mean, when everything works out in such an amazing alignment, okay, I find that that's a miracle. And I guess I should take a step back and define what I think a miracle is. I believe a miracle is when suddenly reality will shift beyond the laws of physics or beyond the laws of reality. So suddenly something breaks the laws of the matrix. That's a miracle. The laws are broken. It goes beyond what we understand our belief structure to be, and it's kind of like that moment in the matrix when the cat goes zzz, zzz, okay? That's when a miracle happens. Who else has a miracle example or story to tell? Somebody? Okay, I'm going to go to Iwana. Over across seas. We have only Europeans answering today, folks. What's that about?
Actually, a big miracle was when my mother had a frontal car accident and she was in a coma for 1 month, but she woke up. So that was a miracle.
Oh, thank God. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that is a miracle. And were you guys praying and just, I mean, how did you go about facilitating that miracle? Not in huge detail, like the whole ritual and the dead chicken, just generically.
I mean, my father was there every day with her. I was too young. I couldn't cope with it, so I just was sending out whatever I could. So, but he was there every day with her. So he was talking with her every day and trying to bring her back. I guess that helped. Yeah.
It does help. And you know what? Miracles don't, well, we'll talk about it. But a lot of times, if you want a miracle to happen and it's not just happening, you should ask. We're going to talk about that. Ask the universe.
You shall receive.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyone else have a story to tell? Mr. Ryan on the end. Hello, Ryan Mistress. Welcome
Hey.
to our paradise.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think you summed it up. Miracles really do happen in the moment that there is awareness of what it is that you want. And, and miracles abound every single moment of our lives if we're really living in present time in the moment. With the people I work with, there's always something going on, just that awareness, just that aha moment, that something clicks and they get it and there's a deeper awareness of self. When working with children, I worked with children for about 4 years, and I had a particular client that I would work with her, and she was on a respirator. Within 15 minutes of working with her, we could turn it down from 7 liters of oxygen down to 1 or 2.
And she wasn't gagging?
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Well, not with the respirator in your mouth, yeah.
Exactly. That's funny. So, but seriously, with doing spiritual work, you can facilitate on the fly, and you immediately see less need for science, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You like science? Yeah, absolutely. I have a miracle story, too, I was going to share, too, going into how miracles facilitate and how reality facilitates. And it actually happened when I was much younger. I was 24 years old, and my wife, who is now my ex-wife, was 9 months pregnant with my son. And we were driving through San Francisco early in the morning, like probably 5 a.m., because you have crazy schedules when you have to go get tests on your wife, for those of you who haven't had a baby. So they make you go in. So we're driving very early Sunday morning, and San Francisco is totally quiet, dead quiet. The boys just went home probably an hour ago, basically. And so I'm driving through the city, and suddenly as I'm driving in our car, this incredibly loud honking starts happening, like honk. It felt like I had a truck, like a truck on my ass, and so I like freaked out, and just you do that whole thing where you're like checking who the hell's honking at me, that was my first response, and as I checked to the right, and incidentally, it is all in slow motion, really, just like the movies, just like the movie. It's like my eyes are capturing 2,000 frames a second. But I go to the right, and suddenly a car hits the brakes and skids, and meanwhile, here's like the shot of my wife, 9 months pregnant, and this car is like heading for her. So I was just like, at that point, I don't even know what my mind thought. Shit.
Whoa.
So he stops in time. Right? And I literally see his whole face like a movie. He's drunk, doesn't know where he is behind that wheel. I don't think he knew he stopped the car. Because he acted like, what the fuck was that?
What?
So, right, and so we're just coasting. So when he finally stops, our car is just like,
You're in your Disneyland.
it was
bubble.
that like very like, doo-doo-doo, just so calm, like elevator music was on. So like finally we get there, and like we get across the thing, and my ex-wife saw it and I saw it, and the goosebumps are crazy in the car, just electric goosebumps. And I turned to my ex-wife and I'm like, who the hell honked? Who honked? Who was that honking? It wasn't that guy. He was way the F out of it. Who honked? And just out of like curiosity, I honked my own horn. It was our car. Our car honked itself through the intersection, and it was a honk. I swear to God. And we were just like, holy shit!
That is fucking awesome. Honestly. That is so cool.
Oh, it was so overwhelming, and I know now what it was. I mean, it would have killed my son. Dumbass would have killed my son. And that was the first time I was within a miracle, like where I really believe something else was like, oh, we can't let that happen. And the laws of reality were completely disobeyed. There's no question in my mind, my car honked itself through the intersection. It took me a long time to figure out it was my car. It was that much of a shock. So we're going to move on to the next segment, where I want to talk, give you a quick little lecture on the nature of reality, and work on what the basis of reality is. So we're going to do a little lecture, and we're going to talk about how do these miracles happen. And later in the show, we have a guest that's going to come on and help us talk about literally the healing process and how miracles happen. So let's go to screen share. Here we go. Start screen share. Is that right? Yes, that is right. That's the wrong screen share. Hold on, guys. This is not a miracle right now. You are not witnessing a miracle. All right, here we go. Just so you know. Okay, so we're going to go to our nice little thank you. We had a new. So I talk about the Secret Master Formula, and the Secret Master Formula is not a secret anymore because I'm telling everyone about it. And it has to do with really the stages of reality and how I have discovered in my own work how reality is built on, how consciousness is built on top of consciousness to create and attract reality. And in Virgo consciousness, basically these are the 3 stages as far as people understand life. You know, the first 0 to 9 degrees is the 5 senses, or the 6 senses really. 6 senses come in, but you're aware of the 5 senses. In the next section, which we're working on, is performance, where people actually can pull off anything from sports to piano to ER. And then above the 20 degrees, Master Shui, when things get passionate, we can really do some magic. And this is all part of step 11, the IB state of awareness. And so it is, the final statement of our spells. That's the final spell statement. So looking at this, this is a chart. If you guys know astrology, this is the basis of the house system. All right, I need to get a little animated wand icon for my mouse. And I want to talk about the line of reality to health. This is the 12th house, which is the I sense state of awareness, which is also known as Pisces consciousness. This is the consciousness where in this little chart, dreams, inner self, the past, secrets, spiritual insights. Really, it's the I sense state of awareness. And in astrology, you know, because what God does is in order to separate from creator self, creator takes creator and creator spins in circles. That's basically how reality is made, taking creator and spinning in circles. All right. So creator spins in circles, chakra spins in circles. It's just creator dancing really to create reality. And what we have are opposing energies. You end up having oppositional energies in this duality we call reality. There's always 2 sides of everything in duality reality. And it's not really that there's 2 sides, it's that there's when the energy was here, and then when the energy spun here, and then so we can take measurements of the oppositional energy. It is between the 12th house, which is our higher inner spiritual self, and the 6th house, in which the lightning of reality is actually made. This is where, in the soul's consciousness, we perceive the creation of reality, where non-material becomes material. This is our physical life, etc. And this is kind of where things go haywire. As far as this is where the magic can be, this is where the magic happens. And with people who do basic spiritual work like Reiki healing and remote healing and these types of things, they're mostly working from the dynamic of our I sense consciousness going to our IB consciousness, our physical reality. So I was thinking, where in life are there examples of where reality blurs with spirituality? And I've come up with a few. One of them is the placebo effect. You guys familiar with the placebo effect? Mm-hmm. Right? Anytime we test a drug, we make half of the science and reason, always makes half the market take a sugar pill with nothing in it, but we tell them, we lie to them, it's going to save your life, right? And then to the other half, we give them a pill and we're like, it's going to save your life, right? So the ones who take the pill, usually all their hair falls out and shit happens, right? The other ones who did take the pill, here's the thing. It is nearly a 50-50 statistic. In all the times that the Federal Drug Administration has forced drug trials, it is nearly 50-50 that the placebo group will heal themselves from thinking they have the sugar pill.
I love it.
Okay? 50% of the time. This is an undoubted, scientifically documented over and over and over and over kind of fact. Here's another one. If you guys know electronic physics, okay, I can't get into the depths of astrophysics. All the physics right now. I'm not talking astrophysics. I'm talking about mechanics. But basically, an electron, what they did when they were trying to shoot electron particles is they realized that an electron can appear in 2 places at once. 2 places at once, okay? And I'm not going to go in the house, look it up, Wikipedia, learn something for yourself. But what they realized was where the second electron appeared, it only appeared if a scientist was looking at it. Mm. If a scientist wasn't looking for a second one, there wasn't a second one. If a scientist was looking, there was. What does that say? That's scientific proof that the perception of an individual is affecting the electron reality. Space and time. Did you know this experiment? We synchronize 2 atomic clocks. We send 1 atomic clock into space. We zip it around the Earth really, really fast and let it fall into the gravity, and then we bring it down to Earth. What happens? This clock goes through time. This is a proven also thing. We go through time. This clock comes back behind this clock, the one that was still on Earth, because it moved faster and came back. Atomic clock synchronized. Look it up. It's true. What about psychokinesis? You guys ever seen those films of the Russian chick that does this and her coffee glass does this? Actually, it's just a ball that floats, but that's what I would be used it for. I'd be like,
That'll be on next week's episode, though.
right? That's what I would do. Very cool stuff. And another example. I know this is fast in time. You guys ever heard of apports? Well, I saw this paranormal documentary over the weekend called The Afterlife Investigations on Netflix. I'm going to show you the poster so you guys can all look at it. It's on Netflix. And this is where this group of psychics basically started meditating in Europe. And what they hooked up with psychically was a group of dead scientists. No joke. I'm not kidding. And these dead scientists were trying to help the psychics bridge the 2 worlds with regular scientific. Watch this documentary.
That'd be fucking awesome.
That's
it is
a miracle.
awesome.
I love it.
It is cool stuff. So literally in the thing they have on tape apports. Apports are where you can actually take an physical object from another space and time and bring it. An apport was just like, wow, and it just comes like that. Not kidding. They have flowers falling, newspapers, all this stuff. Watch it, okay?
You better post that poster.
I'm going to post it, girl. All right. Another one I'm going to talk about, too, is those are the crickets. We're going to have a commercial in a second. The last thing I'll leave you with before commercial is another thing I looked at where this scientific group, another thing in the movie, the scientific group, they set up random math generators all over the world, random math generators, right? So these are little computers that are like 2, 4, 10, 3, whatever. It just starts randomly choosing numbers by a computer code. And what they found was, with all these random generators, okay, when Princess Diana died, all the generators became non-random. When the new Pope was elected, all the generators became non-random. Whenever something global happens, all the generators become non-random. 9/11 too. In fact, with 9/11, here's what really tripped them out. We'll go to commercial. All the generators became non-random 4 hours before the attack. So that's a good little hook. GA33, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Wizard. We'll be right back with more of Practical Wizardry right after these messages.
Introducing Secrets of Birthdays. Are you ready to find love? Bow. Your secrets are coming out. All those sexy secrets are available at secretsofbirthdays.com.
Alrighty, Christopher, we're back, and I'm giving it back to you.
Our audience, I think, is on ether or something. It's like this is delay and all that. I'm just teasing, guys. Thanks for watching Practical Wizard. We're talking about magic, and I'm going to screen share real quick, and then I have a special guest to talk to today. And we're just going to start real quick on kind of how it all comes together. So I showed you the 6th and 12th house, how they come together in eye sense of physical reality. Our chakra system is actually where most of the spiritual energetic currents are. This one is showing a dynamic chakra system between the crown and to the heart chakra. And one of the things that I've done here on Earth is help break down where the chakras tie into the states of awareness. So at the top is I sense with your purple consciousness, and at the bottom is red I am consciousness. And you know, everything in spirit is this way, from red to purple, just like color is that way, just like the notes in music, everything is in this scale. And so by understanding what's, for me as an astrologer, when planets are going crazy, I know how it's going to affect the chakras on Earth. It's going to, bring things up. Then we have another major chakra system that ties into our root to our heart. And ultimately, it's our chakra system. Now, in the chakra system, your energy is always interacting. And basically, through the chakra system is what I've understood is how the soul does connect to the body. It's really through these points that the soul is talking to the body, and then the body carries out the manifestations of the soul. So literally, it's via the chakra system that we find these things happen. Now, as promised, these are the posters. Go see the Afterlife Investigations. This is the one that actually shows you the skull experiments. This is the one I was just talking about before commercial that I thought was excellent on Netflix, and it's there right now, so go watch it. And this is where the British group talks to the dead scientists and they build experiments together. I just gave you a couple of teasers. Here's another one you should look at. This is called Wake Up. This is a movie I saw that was a reality series that followed a guy who just out of nowhere became psychic. He was just like, bing, he just woke up with the vision. And, you know, to make it a great reality series, he's like a Southern, pretty much, you know, he comes across the beginning as a total Southern kind of hick cliche.
Not from Texas.
Cliche. He was from where you are, I think. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not sure he was. He was actually very cool, but the movie will take you through a lot of cool stuff. So, talking about moving on, we have a guest. I'm going to invite you today a guest on board, and actually this isn't just a guest. This is a person who is a medical intuitive, and he is joining our Guided Hangouts team. In fact, his show will be 2 after this one, and be every week, I think, at that time. He's a cool guy that came across us in a spiritual way. He's basically a spiritual coach. He's a legally recognized medical intuitive practicing in Oakland, California, and he's been a psychic intuitive for the last 10 years. So please welcome our guest, Ryan Richards. And applause, please.
Hello, Ryan.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey.
No one knew we snuck him in a little earlier. And Ryan, just let me tell you why you guys like Ryan. Now, I'll be honest. I met Ryan because he's a client. He came in for a reading. That's how he came in. So which is kind of how I meet a lot of people, by the way. Not to push my readings, but if you want to get to know me, you really should buy a reading. But like, he's a master Virgo. He's 21 in some degrees. He's a master Virgo. It's in the 4th house. So he's a master of integrity, emotional integrity, and it's always a pleasure to meet masters. And one of the benefits of what I do is I draw on a lot of young Jedi masters in their crafts. And when I meet them, I was like, oh my God, how are you? Nice to meet you. How are you been seeing things? He also has a solar eclipse in Taurus, which gives him this ability to manifest. So he's kind of like this hybrid integrity healer manifester. What would you call yourself, Ryan? He's a Virgo, so it may take a while.
Yeah, let me think about it. No.
Get back to me.
You know, really, I just look at myself as a spirit on a human journey. You know, that's how I like to look at myself.
That's very like barefoot in the sand. Yeah.
Keep it humble,
You know,
because the work that I do, it's not about me. It's about the people that I work with. So.
Yeah.
You know,
but here's the thing, though. It's like, for the people who are not, once you guys, as soon as anyone meditates on the planet, you're going to realize why lightworkers are slash whores in their titles. They're like intuitive slash this slash that. And it's because as soon as you get into the world of God, it's like there really is no separation. As soon as you're like psychic and get in that world, you're like, oh, look, there's Reiki. God's like, yeah, you want to learn Reiki? Just download it. Like, as soon as you get up there, you can download anything. So you kind of like start to lose your title. But for the sake of Earth, Ryan, what's your title today?
What's my title today? You know, I'm an intuitive. And, you know, I can put a title. I can say medical intuitive. We can say spiritual coach. Those are both things that I'm legally recognized to title myself as. However, you know, I work with different groups of people. You know, there are a couple of neuroscientists that I'm working with right now on a particular invention with the water purification system. Intuitively, and actually hooking up with one of these, you know, passed on scientists who I'm getting a lot of this information from.
That's so cool. We got to hold that story. Hold that story. I love that. Let's take it back. What did you know, first of all, you never think Virgo and psychic. Those just don't go together.
I know. I was thinking that.
Like Virgo and, you know, good housekeeping that comes up, you know, Virgo.
I call myself intuitive, and I'm a Cancer.
Right. But how did you discover you're a psychic? At what age? When did you realize you had the gift?
I've always been intuitive. Always. I mean, ever since I can remember as a child. I remember being born. I remember choosing my parents.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. You remember it? So what were you? Well, were you like in a robe? Like in a robe? Like this? No, whatever. No, bitch, please. You're not like.
Yeah, I made my way through all the red robes. They're trying to hold me back, you know.
Wow, that's crazy. You just say that so casually. I never know anybody just like, come on.
You know,
no, seriously,
I do say it very casually, but I also say it with the utmost humility. It's not something that I just pronounce and tell people usually, but you're asking, so there it is.
I love you.
Isn't he great?
So so really, it
So
is.
how old were you? Like when you were a kid, was it the make-believe friends that were always right? I mean, like how did you rationalize it? How old were you? When did it become a tool and not a weird, like, or was it the force? Tell us about it.
It was definitely just an aspect and a part of who I was and who I am. Up until about the age of 13, and that's a whole different story. Marcel and I have shared that together, but and during that experience, light switch, it just kind of flipped, shut me off completely, shut me down. And then when I was 18 and living abroad, then all of a sudden it kind of flipped back on. I started freaking out friends. They didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't understand it either. And then moving back to the States, as soon as I moved back within a week, some kid in the park just runs up to me and says, "You need to go meet this person. She's coming into town. She's from Oregon." And I was back in Indiana, and so I hooked up with her. She was then a guide for me. And
wait! He just got in the car and went to Oregon?
No. She came to Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah. So she came to Indiana. Okay. Right.
Okay,
she was visiting. She came once in a while, and but she was a guide, and she really helped me hone my gifts and hone it in such a way that I could kind of have control and conscious awareness of what I was doing. Because that 5 years lapse between the time I was 13 and 18, it's like I had gone into infinite amnesia and forgot about who I was. That connection to ultimately my, my source, my own original, my own original source or creator, if you will, that was gone. And so I had to relearn and reconnect and remember this whole dynamic.
What was in that trip, you think? It was past life that was triggered? Did you just, what turned you on, you think? Past life?
What turned me back on when I was 18?
You mean you said you went on a trip?
Definitely past life. Definitely past life.
You live there. A lot of people like turn on and off when they visit a past life where they live. They actually get there physically, and it's like it brings them back. So at what point did you go from intuitive, helpful to actually, a light worker making money at it? And what was that transition like for you?
Sure. In the very beginning, it was very hard, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today in my show, looking back at the past 12 years. Professionally, I've been helping people since I was a little kid, understanding the dynamic of reality and just being there at the right time. However, stepping into this professionally was something that was really calling towards me back in about 2001. And at that time, I'd quit my job and decided, I'm going to work from donation basis only and see where it goes. It was a big step in trust. And so that's when it really started coming in professionally. I was always taken care of, and had some jumps in different careers over the last 12 years, but I've consistently stayed with this path, and it's really been the last 6 years, I would say, that this has been something that I've done full time.
And tell us how this works as a medical intuitive, because that's kind of today's heavy topic that we're diving into, is where people get dis-ease and whatnot. Just first of all, let just everyone know who knows nothing out there what a medical intuitive is.
Okay. Absolutely. So a medical intuitive is essentially a holistic health practitioner that uses their intuition to cut to the core cause of what's creating someone's experience. Now that experience it can definitely be medical in nature, physical, it can be emotional, psychological, it can be spiritual. It could simply be someone in a relationship not understanding what's going on, and it's kind of cutting to the core cause of what's there. And medical intuitive in the sense of, yes, helping people, giving them the tools to really reconnect with themselves so they can reclaim their life in a very specific way.
What kind of patient comes to you then? Are you getting the cancer patient at the last minute? Are you getting
it really depends. It varies. I can't really pinpoint and tell you that it's one specific person or one. It's people that are. I've set out a hard intention that I attract the people that are really ready to transform and reclaim an aspect of who they are, and those are the people that I get. And it could be people that are not even in tune or aware of what this is. And a friend comes by and says, "Hey, go check out Ryan. He's a cool guy. I know you think the whole intuitive thing is kind of hocus pocus, I think, as we had spoken earlier. But go check him out. He's a cool guy. He'll be able to explain it in terms that relates to your understanding. And just give it a shot and see where it goes." Most of my clients, though, are people that already have a little bit of an awareness of the spiritual side of life.
So you're pretty much drawing people aware, and people who watch this network pretty much are. So, but I want to give people an idea, a context of when I can come to you as a customer. It's like to give people an idea, because I think people have no idea about using this kind of thing as a tool. And I'll share, folks, like Ryan had offered, and I haven't had a chance to work with him directly just yet, actually, with my own stuff, just because of my scheduling. But for instance, I have been in the hospital 3 times this year, so I myself would like to work with him and get to the bottom of why I've manifested that on my bottom. But like,
he's scared.
We'll be right back. So you put a little soul guard like,
you throw that past the gay man and mention bottom, you know?
Oh, that's so funny. He's scared. Is that what it's all about? But like, what is? Well, but besides that, so what are the reasons people have come? I mean, help people out is like what they would come to you for if they're what they're suffering with.
Absolutely. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. You know, some of my clients do come for medical stuff and want to take a look at what's going on with them physically. I have other clients that really just want to dive inward and take a look at themselves from the inside and have an understanding of how they're creating their reality. Things aren't adding up, things aren't clicking, and that's the one thing I'm really good at is getting to the core cause of what's going on and bringing all these aspects of their experience together so they can see that everything really is tied into 1, 2, maybe 3 core focuses. So yeah, it could be relationship stuff. Like right now I'm working with a lot of people that do have some physical stuff going on. I'm working with a particular person who whose mother is getting ready to pass, and working with them and assisting her in that transition and giving her tools that she can use to make that transition more graceful.
Mm-hmm.
So, does that
have
answer
you
your
noticed?
question?
Yeah, it does. And again, it's like I love how
It's very vague and ambiguous. I get it.
Totally. Thank you. It's not very Virgo, I'll tell you that.
Right.
Virgo rising loved every second of
His
it.
Cancer rising is making it all smooth. He's got.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
rising?
and I'm
even
just trying to
more
extract.
now.
Well, what I'm just trying to do is kind of get some of your particular unique views in life, and not as specific.
Right.
Like for instance, have you noticed, for instance, something that women are continually dealing with? That's what I'm wondering. In your unique vantage point.
That's a great question. And again, it's really hard to pinpoint one specific thing. It really is individual awareness. One thing that I do run into quite a bit in working with women is tough menstrual cycles. And getting an understanding of why.
Okay, I think that's fair. Thank you, Virgo. Thank you. I just need a little blood. I just need a little detail.
Yeah. There you got it.
Okay. Well, no, I think it's a big one. Actually, I have a lot of, and I'm trying to get this out. Like, I have a lot of women going through menopause. A lot of my women are going through menopause. Like, should I send them to you? It's very hard. They're having a hard time living in their new body.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
wondering.
believe in menopause.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
explain.
it is kind of true.
Uh-oh. Even Darius and I are like, no shit.
It's
No, don't get me
after
wrong.
you get old. It's once you get old enough to when you stop having a period every month. That's menopause. So, I mean, it happens to everyone that's lucky enough to live to an old age. But the psychological and attitude effects, I agree with you there. I mean, you can control yourself in that regard, but...
Right, but you are dear sweet 21.
Well,
She's
the reason why I say
Flash,
no,
okay.
exactly. But I had to see my mom go through it because she had breast cancer about 7 years ago, and my dad also has multiple sclerosis. But my mom, she's a survivor. She's been fine for multiple years now. But she, like, going through chemo, it kicks in menopause, like, whenever you take it. If I took chemo right now, I'd probably go, like, into menopause. Or maybe it's the radiation that does that.
So, Ryan, qualify that. Are you meaning, now that we backed you in a corner, are you meaning that
I didn't mean to.
that you can avoid women from bleeding? Or are we talking about the spiritual effects of menopause and that whole aging process?
Sure, it is the spiritual effects, but it can also have an impact on the physical body to where the body actually still continues to have a cycle every month. There are documented cases, if you look out there, there are women across the globe that, 80s, 90 years old that are still having their period every month.
That's America.
It is.
There you go.
And it's honored.
There you go.
But it's
Now
it's also an aspect of really embracing the feminine and realizing that we do have masculine and feminine energy within our body and having a balance there. And that creates a hormonal flow that stays in balance and in check.
That's funny. So you're saying your male clients. Male clients actually have menopause. Your male clients get menopause, what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry to step on you. Actually, we're out of time. I want to ask you one little quick question, though, because you're going to have this on Soulmart. You have a 20-minute meditation, like a personalized meditation. What is that? That'll be on soulmart.me, your first product.
Yeah, so that's going to be a meditation that's actually tailored to each individual person.
Your microphone just got muted. Can you just unmute your microphone?
Yeah, it's unmuted now.
There you go.
Just tell me you want me to shut up. All these
I like
tricks.
you so much.
So the guided meditation is going to be tailored individually to each specific person, really depending on what it is they're looking for, where they want to go with it. You know, if you've never meditated before and have no idea what it is, I love that. Bring it on. I can give you some tools and we'll dive inward. There's not going to be any conversation, maybe the first couple of minutes of the session, and then we're going to dive right into it. And then I'm going to guide you in such a way that takes you to whatever your intention is. So, is that the end? I heard a beep.
Bring on the healing.
And your microphone's muted, Christopher. There you go.
Okay, I don't know who's muting the microphones, but they're not a Virgo. So anyways, if you guys want to know a little bit more about Ryan, you just stick around soulgarden.tv. He's going to be on in 2 hours. He comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays on soulgarden.tv. And this is the time. GA33, I'm going to throw it to you. Everyone, thank you so much. We'll be back with the final wrap-up of Reality Magic next week.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ryan Richards.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you all for coming, and on behalf of soulmart.me and soulgarden.tv, we would like to thank you for watching Practical Wizardry.
TV.
It's like la 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 la. What happened? Where'd he go? Where'd Papa Smurf go?